Welcome to Telarus headquarters in Sandy, Utah. We're coming to you from Studio 19 with another Behind the Desk segment. We're thrilled today to have Amir Hameed, the VP of Global Solutions Engineering from RingCentral, join us for an in-depth conversation about Microsoft Teams and how they're addressing that competitive situation in the market. So, Amir, hello. Thank you for coming to us. I think you're from Toronto, coming to us from Toronto, Canada today. Thank you for being here.
That's right. Beaming in from Toronto, Canada. It's a pleasure to be with Telarus today. Thank you for the invite.
Oh, we're thrilled to have you. You know, there's a lot of our partner community out there dealing with Microsoft Teams and hearing, and their customers are trying to figure out what that means and trying to buy that. So this is going to be a great conversation I'm excited to have. Before we jump right into that, though, why don't you summarize? Before we started the call, you were telling me a little bit about the team that reports to you and that engineering prowess that RingCentral has. Would you just take a quick moment and summarize some of the resources that are available to partners when they use RingCentral?
Absolutely. That's a great question. So I lead all of global pre-sales. So as the VP of Global Solutions Engineering, that includes all of the channel SEs, but it also includes all of the SEs working the various segments, international, so the UK, France, Australia, but it also includes the specialist teams. And this is an area where, we encourage the channel partners, if you're in a competitive situation and you need either contact center solutions engineers, or we're seeing a lot of integrations and customizations requirements. So I've actually got an API team or integrations SCs that will actually work with a customer up front to determine how they can make that investment into the cloud work well with some of the other systems of record that they may already have. I've also got security SEs. We're looking at growing some video SEs. So, and then the other one is custom engineering. So these are networking experts that are global. They work with service providers. So where you have these, and we're seeing a lot of them now, multinational, global opportunities where you need to make things work in various countries. Of course, we've got good coverage across the globe, but there may be some areas where there's some challenges. The customer engineers can come in and work with the SBCs and the service providers and really get things working. So I just wanted to make sure that Telarus and the partner community is fully aware of and partnering with the resources that are available to you.
Yeah, I know that Ring's assigned subject matter experts to the sales process for a long time, but having kind of a summary of what those engineers are available as well really is helpful. Yeah. So let's jump into today's topic, and let's first of all, I'm gonna quickly summarize my view of Teams and some of the noise. But we've been hearing about Microsoft for a long time. We've been hearing about they're gonna take over the phone system, and it was Link for Business, and then it was Skype, and then it was Skype for Business, and then during our new changes in a pandemic and global, we hear all of a sudden about large companies going to Teams, and it's become louder and louder and louder as we've gone. And so, as RingCentral is one of the leaders in that space, certainly there had to be the thought to compete or to beat them and it turns out that it looks like it's going to be a combination of integration and partnership as well as just head-to-head competition. So why don't you just give me your take on what the Teams world or Microsoft is doing inside of this very competitive space?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, it's a COVID world that we live in. There's no question. So when we look at our customers and moving to the cloud, they've been moving to the cloud already, as part of their digital transformation initiatives. When COVID hit, all of a sudden, that move to the cloud or that shift, leveraging people the ability to work from home, really put the impetus on doing it now. And let's face it, Microsoft is in a lot of accounts. They own the real estate on the desktop. So many customers adopted Microsoft. They said, we're already in Office 365 shop. We're going to deploy Teams. And make no mistake, we look at the daily active users, 75 million daily active users, and that's a growing number. So there is that reality that Teams is on the desktop, and many customers are leveraging Teams for their communication needs. And what we found is, so obviously we looked at the situation, and we've been partnering with Microsoft for many years, Dynamics integration, Skype for Business, Outlook, Office 365. We even had our Teams integration as well. But a lot of the customers were looking for direct integration into Teams. And so we've actually provided that as well. But the key is, and this is the emphasis, is we need to talk to every customer, with the partner, sit down and understand their use case, because that's when it gets very interesting, because that's when together collectively, the vendor, the partner, and ultimately the customer realizes, is Teams truly able to do what they need to do? And we found some very interesting findings that I'll share as we continue the dialogue.
That's great. I think, you know what, you're right, because I already had Teams on my desktop. I may have given it a try or given it a shot or things like that. But we're hearing about some great successes with that too. What could you give our partners some advice on? What are the top 3 or 4, maybe 2 or 3 challenges that people that are deploying Teams runs into that maybe it's not quite ready or needs some configuration or help with? What are those challenges that they should be watching out for?
Absolutely. So, if I had to look at the top 3, it's certainly, first of all, the PBX feature functionality that the customers are actually used to. What are they losing, right? Whether it's complex IVR routing, Whisper Barge Monitor, the ability to have advanced alerting, the native call recording. So a lot of the things that customers took for granted from their previous, perhaps legacy PBX, they thought Teams is the answer. All of a sudden, some of those use cases are not working anymore. And then obviously look at call center and other things like that, customer experience. So that's one area, which is just the features that are just not there within Teams. The other big area is the integrations, right? So what if they've got Salesforce? What if they've got Zen? What if they've got some other systems of record that Microsoft Teams no longer has that integration that perhaps they had in the past? So I see this is another huge area for us. At RingCentral, we've got 240 plus integrations out of the box, but we've also got 47,000 software developers that have come up with 5,000 integrations. And that's huge for customers because, you talk about Teams and, COVID's affecting everybody. So every vertical. So when, as we look at our customers, every single vertical has specific tools that they use, specific things that they need integrations with, and Teams is not doing that. So we're seeing a lot of success in actually building in those integrations with RingCentral, complementing Teams. And then the biggest one, to be honest, which is a huge eye-opener, is the SLA, right? We're used to mission-critical communications. It's so important now that people are not in the office, that they're able to communicate, collaborate across the board. And when you look at Microsoft Teams, you peel the onion a bit, you realize that their SLA is 3 nines for a certified Teams endpoint. There's actually no SLA that I'm aware of for just the desktop Teams app or the mobile client. And that's huge because we've actually had customers where we've gone in successfully with partners and we've demonstrated how we can act as a backup, as part of their disaster recovery plan. So absolutely, you want Teams, you want that native integration, we'll give that to you. However, should Teams go down, because let's face it, it does, it's not 5 nines, they don't have that SLA, rest assured that with RingCentral, you can just go to app.ringcentral.com and you have message, voice, phone, all of that, high definition, all available to you so business can continue. And not only that, it comes with the rich analytics. So you've got all the analytics of the calls while Teams was running. Now that it's down and you're on the RingCentral backup, if you will, you get all those analytics and they all come together. So you know exactly who called, which call was abandoned, all of those details that you need are all there because of the advanced analytics that you get complementing that Teams experience.
I think that's good advice. If we think about that and just my checklist when I sit down to talk to my customer, think about the traditional PBX functionality. What are the features that you use every day? What are the integrations that have to exist, even though you have it running on your desktop and maybe chose to go that direction? And then finally, the sensitivity of outages or downtime, and what is your backup plan there, which is often a cell phone or maybe not at all, nothing at all. So that's interesting. So companies are obviously going through this and choosing to stay there. So why don't you talk to me about how and talk to me like I'm a user, which I am of RingCentral. What's my user experience going from Teams back to Ring? What are the touch points that I'm going to notice the most, and the elegance that you guys have created there?
Yeah, so again, for those customers that, again, for whatever reasons, the decision's been made, they're deploying Teams, we're helping them, right? And so prior to the direct routing, we had other solutions that were very cost effective, in fact, where you didn't need the phone license, you didn't have any other additions, and you could still have the Teams desktop client working. But the customers were saying they wanted the direct routing, right? So with direct routing, you're actually within your Teams client, and it's a total seamless experience. But rest assured, the call control, the SLA is going to be observed. The availability, this is another thing that comes up a lot, is the global reach, right? Microsoft Teams is not available as in as many countries as RingCentral is. So a lot of our customers that are geographically dispersed, they want that benefit. But if they really want that Teams experience at the desktop, or they've got it. So they wouldn't even know that RingCentral is working behind the scenes, except when something goes down. And then, like I said, you don't miss a beat. You can have just like we're having right now, a high definition video conference, full SLAs, and away you go. And that's been extremely important as we get down the path and have these conversations with our customers.
You know what? You used the term direct routing a few times there, and I'm not sure everybody on the call will understand exactly what that means. Can you just explain and try to make it simple, because I'm a simpleton here? But what is the non-direct routing? Tell us the difference there and why that matters so much.
Yeah, so we've got various options. So Microsoft, as you know, has different licensing, E1, E3, E5, and depending on what they have, they're also offering calling plans and things of that nature being added on to the earlier licenses. With the direct routing, what we're saying is if you've got the Microsoft Teams in place, you can leverage RingCentral, so you don't actually need that calling plan from Microsoft. You can leverage RingCentral because that's what we do. We've got the agreements built in place with our global platform, with the various service providers, ensuring the 5 9. So you're leveraging RingCentral for what we do best, which is uptime, reliability. But at the same time, to your point, we're not nudging out Teams because they're already there at the desktop. So it's that direct routing solution that allows you to seamlessly use Teams and not even know what's happening. But behind the scenes, rest assured, RingCentral will ensure the uptime, the reliability, and the ongoing business continuity that a business, quite frankly, needs.
So that helps me a lot. Thank you. You mentioned licensing, though. Now I have a new question that I wasn't planning on asking. But so do I get a different license to make this work? Do I need to buy a different Microsoft license? Do I change that? Do I get my licenses from you? How does the licensing work to make this possible?
Yeah. So there's again, if you don't need the direct routing, then you simply have an E1 type of license, and then you can just add RingCentral Office on there. And we have some limited integrations that many customers are happy with, to be honest, right? Now, if you want to go the other approach, then there is the RingCentral Cloud PBX for Microsoft Teams. And what this does is it gives you RingCentral behind the scenes. And in order to work there, the customers will typically also have a Microsoft phone system license if they're on E3, or if they're on E5, then they've already got that built in. So there is the additional license that RingCentral brings, but again, we give you the full MVP, the message, the voice and the phone backup that's there in the event of an outage. And when there isn't an outage, that's the engine that's driving the Microsoft Teams.
Got it. I appreciate that. This is just a casual observation, but some of your new leadership came from Microsoft. Is that driving any of the behavior and approach to Teams inside of RingCentral?
Well, yeah, absolutely. So Anand is our new president, Anand Eswaran. He's our president and chief operating officer. Phil Shorgan is our new CRO. These two folks and our head of SVP for sales ops all came from Microsoft. So it's actually increased because, look, Microsoft can be difficult to work with at times, especially with other cloud or voice vendors. So I think it certainly helped us, having folks who've come from there. They've got the relationships that ensures that, whatever openness Microsoft has, we're certainly part of it. But I think it's more a matter of, let's look at where the business is going. And I think this is what's most exciting for Telarus and the channel partner community. I mean, when you think about it, there are 400 million lines of legacy telephony out there. Cloud is getting rapid adoption. With COVID-19, the adoption's only gotten faster, but we're still only at best, 12% penetrated, right? That's not that much. So the opportunity is huge for us to move forward. And certainly having executives, at RingCentral who've actually been there, have been at those large companies, they're helping us scale. Last year we exceeded the $1 billion mark, which was a tremendous feat for us. But again, we want to continue down that path. We're absolutely not going to do it without our channel partners. We are totally channel centric. And so we love working with the partner community. And as you know, Microsoft is also very channel friendly. So bringing in executives with that pedigree, I think only helps us to scale for further penetration globally. I'll just mention, when Telarus or the channel partners go to the customers, often they'll ask for, what credibility does the vendor have? I think it's extremely important to note that, at RingCentral, we have a partnership with Avaya, right? Avaya Cloud Office, which was huge because of those 400 million lines existing, Avaya represents about a quarter, about 100 million lines. And then not to rest on the laurels there, Atos, which bought Siemens Unify. So for some of our partner community that are familiar with OpenScape or Siemens Circuit, they've also agreed that RingCentral will be their cloud partner of choice. That represents another 40 million legacy lines. And then we just announced Alcatel-Lucent Enterprise. So it's pretty incredible when you look at the validation that we have from the existing legacy vendors that RingCentral is the cloud platform of choice. But again, we're not going to do it ourselves. We're very proud that, about 77% of our business goes through the channel. And I only see that increasing as we continue down the path.
Yeah, and I don't want to. I want to make sure we highlight one point you made throughout that, and that was 12% adoption. I get partners coming to me all the time saying that I missed the boat on UCaaS. Have I missed the chance to sell those things? And absolutely, that's not the case, right? The trends are increasing, and it's time to get on board. But there are lots of customers that are going through this, correct?
There are lots and lots and lots of customers. We are only in the early. It is such an exciting time to be in the UCaaS world. There's no question. And with COVID, it's not a good thing, but it has helped our customers prioritize the shift to UCaaS. And so, engaging in these conversations now, it is just a tremendous opportunity. And like I said, if they've gone the Teams approach, they've gone with Microsoft, that's not an impediment, that's an opportunity. Let's sit down with the customer, let's talk to them, what are they doing, what do they need to do? Let's understand truly if Teams fulfills all of their requirements, because in most cases, as we're seeing, it does not. And then that presents yet another opportunity for us, the vendor, the partner, to go back to that customer and delight them with a solution that truly meets their business needs.
I couldn't agree more. So, Amir, we talked in the beginning, real early on, about some of the challenges Microsoft's had. What is making Teams so much better than some of their other flavors they've had? What is Microsoft doing right that's causing them to be such a major influence in this space right now?
Yeah, well, again, when you look at it, I talked earlier, 75 million daily active users. I think as a chat platform, it's done extremely well. I know Slack and others are hurting, right? But when you move to real-time collaborations, the conferencing and the calling and the video, that adoption isn't quite there. So, it's already there because they've got the Microsoft licensing. They're on the desktop. It's an easy way to communicate, collaborate. But again, the adoption is not as widespread for real-time communications. And there's also other certain verticals where Microsoft may have done extremely well because they are Microsoft and they're already in those accounts.
Let's explore. I love the conversation about verticals because we get that question a lot too, right? So, what are some of the strongest verticals right now for both Ring and Microsoft, and maybe that collaboration together? Where Where are you seeing adoption faster than maybe others?
Well, I think that's the beauty of cloud, right? So certainly, retail, manufacturing, financial services, these are some areas we're seeing, people adopting to the cloud, but it's all verticals. Hospitality, we're seeing it across the board, and that's the beauty of space that we're in, and that's why it's just extremely exciting time to be there because again, coming back to my earlier point on the integrations, that's the key to winning the verticals, because various verticals, they have specific needs, they have specific tools that they run, and they want the communications platform to be able to integrate so that they can maximize it. So, communications enabled business processes, it's an old term, but it's certainly coming to life with all of the APIs and the openness of our platform.
You're right. The openness. I often tell people we used to buy a product for the feature it has now. Many of these cloud applications we're buying for future features we don't even know exist yet, but it's the flexibility to add them as they become available, whether the technology's invented or somebody comes up with a new idea, right? So tell us a little bit about the RingCentral platform, how powerful that is.
Yeah, so it's an extreme platform, extremely strong, extremely open, and whether it's healthcare has become big, telemedicine has become huge right now, various utilities. So having the ability to choose a platform, and as I say, we can go in pre-sale. So I'm not talking about necessarily a professional services paid engagement. I'm talking about us going in with the partner, talking with the customer, understanding what tools that they're leveraging. And I've got SEs that'll actually go in and scope out that open platform and the APIs and make it work so that you can leverage the communications tools, the real-time communications through the app that they might be using. And whether it's financial services or utilities or manufacturing, there are so many different integrations that are possible out there. It's making a huge difference, and quite frankly, one of the key reasons that RingCentral is winning our fair share in the cloud space.
It's true, you are winning at least your fair share, if not. So some might even say a little more, but that's because you guys do such a good job and go through that. What industry trends do you see that are going to stick? Right, we're in this new normal, and whether it's normal or not, there's certainly some trends that you've seen happen. What are the trends that you think are going to be the most sticky, even as we get through some of these problems?
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Pre-COVID, I was spending personally, 80% of my time on flights. I mean, it's a global role, so I'm constantly traveling, whether to headquarters or customers or partner events. In fact, the last event that I went to before COVID was a partner event that we held, and then right after that, everything shut down. So what I'm finding, and now everybody's working from home, right? So it's very different. So that's a trend now. That trend was already in place, if you will, because the mobile first, cloud first, a lot of the customers were already shifting there, but it was really for certain personas, right? So you're in sales, you're a road warrior, you need to be on the road. But what about the back office people? They're typically not. They're not on the road, they're in the office. Now we're seeing everybody's working from home. So I think COVID has really validated the value of shifting to the cloud and the mobile workforce, where it's a true work from anywhere mode. And I don't think that's going to change. So I think, the new norm won't be as it is today, where, I've been with my family, haven't been with my family this long in a decade or more. So I'm kind of enjoying it a bit, absolutely. But I think when we get back to the new norm, I don't think I'll be traveling 80% of the time. I'm certainly 20, 25% of the time I could see where I need to meet with a partner, I need to meet with a customer. It's extremely important. We'll still continue to do that. But just as we're doing right now, I'm finding, in fact, my productivity's increased. Because I'm not traveling as much anymore, I'm able to talk to more partners, talk to more customers, have more one-on-ones with my teams who are dispersed globally, versus before where, I've got travel time. So my calendar's cut. I can only do one meeting because I've got to travel and Uber and I'm out of pocket. So I think customers, the industry, the world as a whole is realizing the true value of having, working from home. Maybe the big offices are not required as much, or there'll be much more shared spaces. I can tell you at RingCentral, in the US, our Belmont office, our Denver office, our Charlotte office, they were all bursting at the seams, right? And we were all always worried about, we need more office space. Where do we go? What do we do? And now that may not be the case, because when we do come back to work, we'll have some sort of shared spaces and time. So we're not everybody doesn't necessarily need to be at work, because work is not defined by where we are. And I think UCAS really proves that case out, and we're seeing it and living it. Again, it's unfortunate the reason for it, but I think this is the best use case to prove that you can be as productive as ever without leaving your home, so long as you have the tools that enable that productivity. And certainly RingCentral and Telarus can certainly provide that for you when we engage in these conversations.
So you're not going to miss Delta 3C, at least not quickly. Turns out you like hanging with the family, right?
Status, and I think all my statuses are going to go, but hey, that's okay.
Statuses are going to go, but time with your kids are going to be even higher, right?
I was just going to say that, being home for dinner is priceless. So
there you go. As we get ready to wrap up here, there's lots of people that are going to be talking about Teams, right? They're going to say, we have the answer. We integrate here. We do this right. We do that right. Will you just summarize the key factors inside of RingCentral, why when I'm dealing with a Teams customer, while Ring and Teams is the answer to that question? And just kind of give the partners that summary of why that's the answer.
Yeah, I think, look, at the end of the day, native, easy to use, right? So if they've already gone to Teams, we're going to give them a native experience. It's very easy to use. It's not going to be disruptive. Number two, you're still going to get that feature-rich PBX. So whatever functionality that you were expecting for the various people within your business, they're going to continue to have all of that advanced capability, feature functionality, and most important is enterprise grade, right? 5 nines SLA to ensure that uptime, ensure that business continuity, so that business can run irrespective if it's COVID or post-COVID, or it doesn't matter where you are. You expect that your phone platform, your UCaaS platform is not going to fail you. And again, we stand behind that with our SLA, and I think that is really helping us when we engage in those deeper conversations with our customers who have made Teams decisions.
That's an incredible answer. Thank you so much. And, some of the things I've learned on this call is just the depth of the engineering resources available to help us figure that out. So that combined with Telarus engineers and the RingCentral engineers
Absolutely.
and the approach is a really powerful answer to go and have some of these big conversations about Teams and about RingCentral and how they fit together. So any final thoughts for the partner community before we wrap up?
Yeah, again, it's been a pleasure. I really enjoyed this conversation, Roger, and for the partner community, as I mentioned, we're my organization alone is over 140 people strong, and each and every single person on my team channel friendly. So if there's an opportunity where we can help you and help the customer, then please look us up. Do not hesitate. We'd love nothing more than to work with you guys, and again, and ultimately help customers achieve their business outcomes.
Well, thank you so much, Amir. That's Amir Hameed, the VP of Global Solution Engineering for RingCentral, coming to us from Toronto, Canada. We're thrilled to have you. Our partnership with RingCentral has never been stronger. We're appreciative of all you do for us, and we're excited to see this expand and grow as we expand. So with that, we're going to wrap up here from Studio 19 in Sandy, Utah at Telarus headquarters. Thank you all for being part of our community, participating in the Race to the Summit, and thank you for your participation with us as a partner as well. With that, we'll sign off. Stay safe out there until we see you next time.